button there. We'll kind of sort all that stuff out.
We have everything set up for you.
Yeah, but the question is the mic working? It is? I don't think he has it on.
No.
Oh,
It's on. Okay, no, let me go back in the back and make sure.
yeah. Right, no. Yeah, it's not on. It's not on. Where'd my pen go?
Okay, how are you doing? Yeah, it's on. It's on.
Okay, the Lord be with you. Before we formally start the meeting, someone found this pen outside the front door. It has a little flower on it. It's got a couple of stones, maybe even a diamond or something in there. Okay. I have it. If the word gets out that somebody needs it, I have it. All right. Getting close. Madam Senior Warden. Draw nigh. All right, the time is 10:42. Sunday, January 21st, 2024. Let me call this annual meeting of Trinity Episcopal Church to order. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. O God of unchangeable power and eternal light, look favorably, we pray, upon your whole church, that wonderful and sacred mystery. By the effectual working of your providence, carry out in tranquility the plan of salvation. Let the whole world see and know that things which had been cast down are being raised up, and things which had grown old are being made new. That all things were being brought to their perfection by him through whom all things were made, your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord, who with you and the Holy Spirit evermore lives and reigns, one God, world without end. Subject to her saying yes, I would like to recognize Hopi Reem Hayes as clerk of the annual meeting, if you are willing to accept your duty. Let the record show she has been so appointed. Everyone should have, at this point, a booklet that says 2023 annual report. But it does it say? Oh, that's right. It's the report given in 2024 that covers 2023. Y'all got one of those? Okay. Not even looking at what we did. Okay. As well as the agenda for the meeting, and soon, if you haven't already, you'll get ballots shortly. So item 3 is approval of January 23rd, 2023 annual meeting minutes. I know that everyone remembers everything that happened last year. So you all are looking over those minutes with a fine-tooth comb. You want to make, right, Kay? You want to make absolutely sure that everybody, all the what is it, the jots and tittles and Father Himmers, what do we call those things? Speed bumps, right? Okay. All right, at the appropriate time, when somebody wants to make the motion to approve the minutes of the January 23rd, 2023 annual meeting, John Dunbar moved. That would be Marie, right? That would be Marie. John Dunbar moved and Marie Reynolds seconded. So let me just make sure we got that down. So we have a motion on the floor. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, rebuttal? We always say that at vestry. Anything at all? Going once, going twice. Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes by unanimous voice vote. As we move to item 4, which is the necrology, I want to recognize, first of all, give thanks for Claudia Gates' service because she was in the role of registrar for the parish, and to recognize Christina Christofferson, who took on those duties when Claudia left. So thank you for that. And I believe that the statistics, I know they're there. You'll find them on page 17. So the people that we are going to pray for and remember are those who have died in this past year. Let us pray. Almighty God, with whom do live the spirits of those who depart hence in the Lord, and with whom the souls of the faithful, after they are delivered from the burden of the flesh, are in joy and felicity. We give thee hearty thanks for the good examples of all those thy saints, who, having finished their course in faith, do now rest from their labors. And we beseech thee that we, with all those who are departed in the true faith of thy holy name, may have our perfect consummation and bliss, both in body and soul, in thy eternal and everlasting glory, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I got too many things up here. Item 5 is the appointment of election tellers. In no particular order, the tellers today will be Andrew Christofferson, Rodney Hume Dawson, Margaret Stivers, and Mary Mild. And we want to remember Jerry was originally supposed to be part of that group, but is under the weather today, so his better half has taken on the duties. And then Jeff Atmatic will be the sort of runner of the results when they're tabulated. Is there any objection to the appointment of those tellers? Without objection, they are appointed. And speaking of Andrew Christofferson and Judith Hunt and Denise Jury, would you come front and center? I know you're here. Denise came all the way in from Las Vegas this morning. And I told her that if it was 3 years ago and she was in Las Vegas and she had known she was going to be elected to the vestry, she probably wouldn't have come back. That would be my guess. All right. All right. Well, for Mary Frances, you got anything you want to say about these vestry members? Please do. Please do. This is your senior warden, Mary Frances, and my boss. So here we go.
Good morning. So, as most of you know, because many of you have served on vestries, whether here or somewhere else, it's a pretty challenging task. And I would like to really acknowledge these three because they stuck through Trinity Episcopal. They stayed with us when it was really difficult. Father Paul left, Father Bill came. We truly weren't quite sure who was on first. And they did not quit. They stuck it out. We had another annual meeting in October 2 years ago. It just kept going. And these three never left. They were positive, encouraging, and they've done a fabulous job. And we really want to thank them for all they've done for this church. And we know they're not going anywhere. So feel free to call on them for guidance. I asked them to keep in touch. So anyway, they're the best, and we really want to thank them.
And they really did do a wonderful job. I'm very proud of this vestry. A lot of challenges, and they've worked hard. And other vestry members who are present, if you would stand. Marie's here. Let's see. Look around. There's Bob, Mary Frances, Cindy. Oh, she's back in the kitchen. Cindy's back in the kitchen. No, she's in the kitchen and in the back of the church at the same time. Very talented person. Where's Craig Lesh and James Baroy? There we go. Okay, who am I missing? We all here? Let's please give this vestry your thanks. And reports are there. Judith Hunt was our junior warden, did a fabulous job. David Raff is our treasurer. it sounds like I'm introducing the members of a band or whatever. Hopi Hayes, you know, on pencil, you know. What I'm most proud of is that this vestry stayed the course. You attended meetings. We didn't always agree, you know, but you really did a superb job, and I'm grateful for your leadership. So thank you for that. Okay, so that moves us to item number 7. And I would ask that the following people come forward: Cynthia Cervantes, Christina Christopherson, and Doug Steeples. Please come up. Come down to the well. Draw nigh. These are 3 people. Come on, Cynthia. You got to come up here too. Yep, no. No. Yeah, nice try. Trying to get out the door over here. These are people who have stated that if nominated, they will run. If elected, they will serve as members of the vestry of Trinity Episcopal Church. Do I exaggerate, or are we good? You will serve. Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to place these 3 people, Cynthia Cervantes, Christina Christopherson, and Douglas Steeples, in nomination. Bob Bourne moves. Is there a second? Several seconds. I'm going to give whoever back in the back. Who was that back in the back? Wilhelmina? Okay. Did you get that, Hopi? Yeah. Okay, so Bob, Wilhelmina. Okay. I'm going to rule that motion out of order at this point, but hang on to it. Are there any additional nominations? Are there any additional nominations? Are there any additional nominations? Hearing none, the chair declares nominations closed, and now I'm going to recognize who was making that motion. Okay, Michael, I'm going to ask if you would be willing to make a motion to elect Cynthia Cervantes, Christina Christopherson, and Douglas Steeples to the vestry of Trinity Episcopal Church. So Michael Miller moves. Who makes that second? I think Jeff Ricard barely got it. Well, you can give the second away, Jeff. Okay, who else? Wilhelmina again? Oh, man. All right. Hopi, did you get that? All right. So it's been moved and seconded that Cynthia Cervantes, Christina Christopherson, and Douglas Steeples be elected to the vestry of Trinity Episcopal Church. Is there any more discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? They are hereby elected. Stay right there. Greet your new vestry. Hey, hey. All right. Thank you for your willingness to serve. We move now to item 8. So this is election of diocesan convention delegates. I need the following people to come forward. John Dunbar, Hopi Hayes, or Reams Hayes, Neil Hotcha, Judith Hunt, Doug McCumber. All right. They're coming up. Jeff, they're coming up here to stick their tongues out at you. Okay. I mean, this is all right. Now here they are. Okay. So I'm going to ask the 5 of you. These are the people that, as of the annual meeting, have said, if nominated, they will run. If elected, they will serve. So I ask each of you, are you willing to do that? If it works out, okay. Let the record show that they have done so, and so they are nominated without objection. Okay. Convention is typically the second Friday and Saturday of November. I do not know those exact dates. They used to have it the first weekend of December. The audacity of doing that right at Advent and all that. Now they've moved it back a little bit. Okay. So these folks are nominated. So I ask if there are any additional nominations. Are there any additional nominations? Where everybody's just going. Any additional nominations? Hearing none, Chair declares nominations closed. We have ballots. Does everyone have a ballot? Where am I? You're about to. We're going to take a moment, make sure everybody's got ballots. When we're satisfied, you can all go sit. You can all go sit. Thank you, sirs. And everybody knows that they have ballots. I will give instruction. Yeah. When you have your ballot, everybody got a ballot? Okay. So you see, we don't have to worry about the vestry candidate ballot because they've all been elected. It's the one that says delegates for diocesan convention. Vote for no more than 2. No more than 2. You can either make a little X or circle, whatever, but make it very clear as to your choice. And then when you have completed your ballot, pass the ballots down to the center aisle, and the tellers will collect the ballots, and they will retire to count them. By unanimous consent, we talked to the candidates before the meeting started, and they all agreed that the top 2 vote getters will be the delegates, and the other 3 will be the alternates. And by diocesan canon, you can have an unlimited number of alternates. So, and by the way, someone might say, what happened to the other delegate? The other delegate, again by canon, needs to be an otherwise elected member of the vestry. So what we did last year was we established the precedent that the vestry would choose from their ranks the other delegate. So that'll happen maybe at the retreat, it'll happen soon. And so we thank them, and so all ballots in? All right. They will retire to, I'm going to call it Cheryl's office forever. I know it by no other name. All right. So now we'll move to the back of the agenda. And I would like to recognize our treasurer, David Raff. He will speak both to yes, David, yes, you. He will speak to both item 9, which is 2023 financial report, and item 10, operating budget, 2024 operating budget. So let's thank David for his good work. I thought I'd get the applause now before you got.
Well, thank you for that. Very kind of you. Okay, so first of all, it's an honor to serve Trinity as your treasurer. And believe it or not, I find this stuff fun. And was walking in on a high. I'm just, oh, gosh, everybody's going to just enjoy this, what I'm going to say. And then one of our parishioners said, well, they'll do the elections and then we'll get to the boring part. So I'm the boring part. Okay, so in the annual report, starting at page 18, I believe, is the financials. And I'm just going to highlight just a very few items from this. I'll be happy to take some questions after the meeting for anyone who has specific questions. The financial statement starts with a statement of financial position. Basically, it's what we have and what we owe. And what we have as of December 31st of last year is money in the bank account of $202,000. We have investments that are broken out between what are called endowment funds and operating funds. The endowment funds are a little over $1.2 million. And that's important because if that money is over $1 million, then the vestry at least has the option to consider a draw for its operating budget from that as a percentage of roughly 4%, let's say, if it's needed. The operating funds are designated for various purposes for the church as well, too. So those investments add up to about $1.8 million as of the end of last year. So moving on to the statement of activities, which is the next page, highlight a couple things. The church brought in $683,000 last year and spent, go a few more pages back, $605,000. So we actually, when you look at what we brought in versus what we spent, for the church as a whole, which includes all the various designated purposes, including TEPS and Trinity Camp and all the other things the church does, we ended up with a net operating income, as it's called, of $78,000 last year. So we were in the black, if you want to call it from a business standpoint, last year. On top of that, the investments for the endowment and the operating funds did very well last year. So the investments went up about $181,000. So if you look at to the very bottom line, we're about $200,000 better off at the end of 2023 than we started the year. There's details on our comparison of the budget from 2023 to what we actually spent in various categories on the next couple of pages. And then more detail on the investments, a couple more pages back. And then I think that's it for that part of the show, if you want to call it that. And then I'll roll over to the operating budget for 2024, and I'll highlight a few things from that. So for this next year, or this current year, I should say, 2024, we're looking at bringing in $417,265. That comes from pledges from everybody, non-pledge contributions, restricted gifts. Also includes $40,000 for facility income, which is rental income on Kyler House, and also rental of the parking lot, as well as also groups that come in, pay us rent for use of the facilities as well. The various detail of what we're spending for different categories goes under expenses. I'll point out the salary for clergy includes the fact that we are now paying Father Bill 100% of his compensation, whereas before we were paying St. Stephen's as part of the group payments that were being made. And also, we've blocked out some money for associate priest as well in part of that budget. We also put a line item in our budget this year specifically, as the budget committee met, for salaries and wages for nursery. And so we were hoping that we have, and we expect to have, sufficient funds in our budget to pay for some nursery workers to help us out on Sundays and help those with young children to be able to spend some time in the service. And we're looking forward to seeing how that develops with that. So the various other expenses are listed there. And in the back are pages that show kind of a graph of what the sources and uses of funds are. The budget, from an operational standpoint, comes in at basically overspending versus our contributions and facility income by about $61,000. Now, we've got two line items substantially that are going to make up that difference. One is something called an employer retention credit. And what that is that during the pandemic, the church, of course, lost a significant amount of ability to operate, and the federal government provides a refund for payroll taxes, which we've been going through a process with a consulting firm to determine how much we might be able to get through amending payroll tax returns. At about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, it was Friday afternoon, we got an email from the consulting company with a number. We had budgeted this figure to be $36,300, and what we're going to be receiving is going to be $61,022.57. I signed the payroll tax amended returns today, and we'll be paying an 8% fee to the consulting firm, about $4,800. So we're going to net about $56,000 from that process. It's the federal government, so who knows when we're going to get the money, but it should be this year. And then also we have sufficient cash where interfund transfers from our investments won't likely be necessary for this year. So information is available, of course, in the report. I'll be around after the meeting, and if you'd like to email me with any questions, please do so. The email address would be finance@tec-redlands.org, I believe, right? Audits? Okay. Father Bill is going to do all the audit work. That's not? Oh, I guess not. Okay. We have completed audits for the 2019 and 2020 year. Our auditor, Dan Valdez, completed those. We expected he was going to do the 21 and 22 audits to catch us up, and he had a health issue which pushed him back significantly on his schedule. However, we have the ability, and we are moving forward with an internal audit for those 2 years. Fortunately, at least from a timing standpoint right now, I was not the treasurer in 21 or 22, so I can participate in that audit. Otherwise, for 23, I'd be auditing myself, so that wouldn't work. So for 21 and 22, we'll be doing an internal audit, which is a requirement for the transition process. By the way, we did put some money in for transition as well as also money for the search process in our budget for 2024 as well. Okay, that covered what you were looking for? Questions? Yeah, Marie. We're getting our group together for that, yes. And we'll be starting that process here in the next week or two. See me if you'd like to talk more about that. No, I was just bringing it up so that you can announce in case you need people. At this point, I think I've got my team in place. All right. Thank you.
Right on cue, Reverend Schroeder happened to show up, just right, finishing up with St. Albans, because that's going to be a little part of what I'm going to talk about here next. You'll find a written report in item 11 from myself, and there are other reports as well from Mary Frances as senior warden and Judith as junior warden, and other ministries that we have in the congregation. And I'm not going to go back and reiterate everything that you can read that's there. But I think that one thing that David talked about with respect to the financial health of the congregation is I think that also reflects in the growth, both in terms of average Sunday attendance, which increased from 98 last year to 116 in 2023, and the active membership increasing from 261 to 273. And we have a number of people who will be going through the confirmation when Bishop Brookhart comes, and it's not too late, by the way. If there's anyone here who would like to either get a refresher course so that you can formally renew your baptismal vows, and I'm going to pick on Nancy Rogers, who is doing that, because Tricia is going to get one of the ones who's going to get confirmed. So Nancy thought that she would come through with that, and we had a great time last Wednesday together. So we'll give a number of opportunities for people to be able to do that. We'll be engaging after both services the first 3 weeks of February. There are other times. Of course, I met with teenagers last fall. We know for sure that Joseph Christofferson and William Uminski and 3 people within the Bengali community out of the teens, and there may be some others. So we're handling this in a number of different ways, because that's kind of the way it works now as far as reaching people. But what I do want to do, just for a moment, as kind of thinking about the year. And so I'm going to give you a couple of snapshots. And just remember these, kind of where you were, if you were involved in any of these. The homecoming lunch. I mean, what a great time we had at that. New faces, old faces. Of course, all faces continue to be new to me. I learned very quickly not to say welcome to Trinity. It's nice of you to visit. Because the first time I did it, someone had been worshiping here for 45 years. I was the new person who was coming in. So I've adjusted my greeting style. Having the TEPS open house and realizing that it was a rainy day anticipated, and having a bounce house in the parish hall. What a great time that we had. Not just having Trinity Camp, but mini camp. And I give thanks to Reverend Cece for that. And there was a point in the camp week where I was asked to give last rites to Nina Flood. Now, by the way, Father Himmers gave last rites to Nina Flood not too long after that, and the last I checked, Nina Flood is still among us. So, Lou, I think we're praying the wrong prayers, right? Not sure what's going on there. But I came down the hill, and when I got here, it was on a Friday, and I thought, well, I'll stop by the church and kind of see what was going on. And Jeff's playing boogie-woogie music or whatever it is he plays on the piano in there when he does camp songs, but he was doing it for mini camp. I came in, had a hot dog, and it was so much fun. And I almost didn't want to go back up the hill for the close of camp, big camp. But to recognize that our little ones can go on ahead and start getting that camp experience is so amazing. First time that I had the opportunity to go be with Father Halder and all of our wonderful people in the Bengali community at one of their house church meetings. The food was amazing. I didn't understand a word that was being said, but because they follow the same mass structure that we do, I could follow along. and begin to pick up a few of the words. But just to be reminded of the true diversity of this community was such a privilege. And I've been back more than once. I mentioned the confirmation class, and after we got through with the main instruction, Joseph Christofferson and William Minsky would continue to come on Wednesday afternoons about 4 o'clock. And we'd talk about the state of the world and all the good things that were going on. Every once in a while, we even talked about what's in the Book of Common Prayer. But what fun. I know you've got results, so come on up and bring me the results when you can. And I'll announce them here in a moment. All the wonderful Christmas services.
The 2 circled.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yep. That's Jeff Atmatic, ladies and gentlemen. Any wonderful runner of results. Christmas was awesome. If you think about the fact that we had, because of the vagaries of the church calendar, this last year, the 4th Sunday of Advent just happened to be on December 24th. And more than one person came out that day and said, "This is my Christmas service." Okay, thank you very much. But then we had that raucous pageant. And I didn't even realize it at the time, but the little jousting that was going on with 2 of the kids that was in it, just all the things that went with that. Sarah Gray did such a good job of pulling that together. And true confession, I'd gone to Beaumont, came back. Marguerite here? Where's Marguerite? Okay, good. So I can embarrass her with her not being in the room. So I got back over. I thought, well, I'll stop off because they were going to have a little gathering. They'd had a pageant practice. And of course, I don't know if any of you have ever been to her home, but she's a wonderful hostess. And "Oh, Father Bill, sit down, have a glass of wine." I usually don't do those kinds of things, but I thought, why not? That glass of wine got me through. It was not a little glass of wine, but that glass of wine got me through Christmas Eve. And speaking of Christmas Eve, hearing Father Hemmers read the gospel at the late service was absolutely priceless. And Lou, I remember when you kind of leaned over to me at one point, because my rather convoluted homily was all about gift giving, and I still have people who call me up and saying, I got about a third of the way through with that, and I couldn't keep up with you. You confused me. But I knew Lou got it, because as I remember, sir, you leaned over to me and said, "Thank you for letting me read that gospel." That was a gift to you. What you read was a gift to all of us. Because we need you in this congregation, you and Joan. And I'm saying that not just because I'm counting on dinner soon, but because I really mean it. That was awesome. And the choir was spectacular. You threw everything you had, and realizing that Canon Ricard was, well, I remember the old Bob Dylan song, "Stuck Inside a Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again." He was stuck inside of Salt Lake City trying to get back from New York. And Liz Zeller stepped up, and my understanding, just conducted a marvelous choir practice. And obviously what you did, sir, everything you did related to Christmas Eve was just fantastic. And just, please, the choir, the music that we have in this congregation there's nothing like it. And we really appreciate that. But as good as all that was, Christmas morning with Diane Jennings singing solo, Canon Ricard playing the organ, and for a change, me only doing about a 5 to 7 minute homily, it was perfect. It was just perfect. snapshots. I'm going to ask him to come up and talk in just a minute, but to be able to have people in our hall and people in this congregation who were so generous to give to the ministry in Peru, which started a few years back at St. Stephen's, and we now have someone by the name of Damaso who is operating at very high altitude. I'm going to get Mark to come up in just a minute. He's going to tell you a little bit about what happened at Christmas there. But to have people in that hall and be able to have the technology to reach Damaso himself in Peru and to have that aspect come. It's so uncommon these days because we tend to be very, forgive the term, parochial and insular. And to realize that there are still people in the world who need the gospel. And there are still people in the world who need help. Mary Frances knows that from going off and doing the medical missions and things that we have. It was wonderful to bring that aspect in. I could go on. But, you know, the numbers are great. And we want the numbers always to look good. But what really counts at the end of the day are the relationships that we build. And my sense of it is that this is a congregation that is hungry for connection, that wants to be in love, not just with each other, but with people outside these parish walls. The mission field is out there. And there are people who are hungry and who want authentic community. And so I said this at the end of my written report. I thank you for letting me be a part of your village. Sharon and I have been very wonderfully and graciously received. It's been a privilege to be among you. Let me just say one last thing. We sit here in these beautiful walls with these beautiful windows. And if you came for Epiphany, if you came for when we had the celebration, that was not a small project that this congregation did, that not only helped to enhance the beauty of the windows that are already here, but is a significant down payment for ensuring that they're going to be strong, structurally strong. It really takes a lot to keep this building, but it's a beautiful building, and it represents the beauty of the gospel and of our commitment to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Cecilia here, come up here, has just accepted a call to be the rector of St. Timothy's Episcopal Church in San Diego. And I just want you to know, Cece and I have known each other for a few years now, and in spite of that, we're still friends. And I fully expect an invitation to your institution. I'll write an excuse, if it happens to be on a Sunday, for anyone who wants to go. You don't always see everything that Cece does in this congregation. I get asked that from time to time. But she has been right there, especially on the technology part of things with our website, with helping Judith and some others, Josh Apmatic, unlocked some things with our computer system that were very, very difficult. Probably maybe the biggest challenge infrastructure-wise that we've had here. I just want to take a moment and thank you, and just if you have anything you want to say without tearing up too much. Come on up here.
Well, first of all, I'm kind of jealous that you're in your cassock and your skirt is billowing right here. It's so lovely. So, now, I'm too short for this thing. I just want to say, I know that in some ways you all have known me a very long time, because in 2000 and what year was that? 2003? I can't even remember. John and I got married. John Schroeder, who grew up in the church and with the Schroeder family, the infamous Schroeder family. And so I've always kind of joked I'm married into this church. But this is where we would come when we would come visit, and I'd sit in the pews, and one of my memories was our older son, Owen, was still a baby, and we had come to visit, and he was in the nursery sleeping, and the next thing I know, Dawn is parading him down the aisle, and I'm so mad that he woke up my son who was sleeping. And that's when I realized, no, he was so proud to show off his grandson to this church that he loves so much. And so you all are home for John and I. This is our church home, no matter where we are. This is our heart, and I say all the time, Father Lou was one of the priests that married us. So it's just such an amazing community to be a part of, and it's been such an honor to be able to serve this community that has nurtured John and even our kids and the camp experience. And so we're not that far down the road, and you're always welcome to come visit, but you will all definitely be invited to my installation. I don't know when it is, but it's coming, and we'll actually be leaving mid-March, and my first Sunday is the Sunday after Easter. But it is always a privilege to serve here and to know you all and to love you all. And I thank you for all your love and support, and I thank you for what you have given to the Schroeder family all these many, many years. Thank you. I want to add one thing. Mark, don't let me forget to tell you about when I told my father about the mission trip in Peru, who he had been a pilot during Vietnam. He said, oh, I flew in there. And he had a story about it, which is essentially that nobody taught him how to fly high in the Alps. And when you land there, it's like going down a water slide and coming to a stop. So he has some interesting I almost died stories. I think that was one of them. So.
Thanks, Cece. I also want to recognize, of course, the Reverend Canon Lou Hemmers. You know him, you love him. He's right there. The help that you give. Again, it's not always seen. Sometimes it's in the form of counsel, maybe a friendly hug or a place to hide out for lunch or something like that. But thank you, sir, and Joan too, for all you do and the help that you give. So give it up for Lou, please. Okay. And where's Father Halder? Beerball, would you stand, please? I know you're here. There you are. Wednesday morning mainstay, and he'll be your preacher next Sunday. And Father Halder, I've learned so much from you over the last year. And your counsel and prayers on Wednesday morning. If you haven't had a chance to come to a Wednesday morning service, come, because it's profound what we're able to do in prayer. So thank you for all you do. And I know he's watching from somewhere in Denmark, I think, right now. But Father Pete Wright's going to be back on February 15th, and not a moment too soon. It's absolutely staggering when you go through and tote up the number of home communions and pastoral visits that he makes. And I know you know that. He is such an important part of this congregation and our common life. So, Pete, this is for you. Everyone give it up. We also had in the original team, Father Jay Tillett. He, very shortly after we all got together, his services were needed at St. Peter's in Rialto, and he has been there without fail. So he really has been, just like Cece, your reach is out there farther sometimes than you might think. And Reverend Stacy Forte Dupre, who during this time that we've been together and in 2023, was ordained priest. All the second half, especially, of 2023, took the services at St. Stephen's in Beaumont. Recently has been kind of redeployed over to Grace Episcopal Church in Moreno Valley. And that's a congregation that had still been doing online worship, had not started back in person since March of 2020. And Stacy's got a real challenge there, but she's rising to it and doing exemplary work and love being among you. So Stacy, if you're watching, this is for you. Let me announce, I think, that Mary Frances Petit is going to continue as our senior warden for next year. This year. And I'm grateful for that. When we have our upcoming retreat, February the 16th and 17th, the evening of the 16th, and then Saturday the 17th, your junior warden will be elected at that retreat, as is customary. My guess, David, is even though you're not going to be at that retreat, they're going to probably re-elect you as treasurer, I would imagine. And you know, although I know we're still in contract negotiations, so we'll see. Likewise, Hopi, as our clerk, has done a wonderful job. And we'll elect the vestry delegate to Dawson Convention. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the other parish reports and any additional ones, because we got as many of them as we could into the book as we could get, but there may be some others that come in. If someone would kindly make a motion to accept the parish reports. Marie Reynolds makes the motion. Who was that? Lou Hemmer seconded that motion. Man, I got to write that down.
I don't think priests get to say that very often when they're...
Marie and Lou. And who was the second? Marie Reynolds made the motion, and Lou Hemmers made the second. Yeah, that's big, Hopi. That's big. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right. The ayes have it. Now, where'd those results go? I know somebody brought me some results. What do I do with those things? Oh, here they are. Okay. I've got them, okay. So elected as delegates to Diocesan Convention, Neil Hartshoe and Doug McCumber. All right. And John Dunbar, Hopi Hayes, and Judith Hunt will be alternates, and so thank you for that. Thank you for your service in advance. Is there any, Mark, come forward. It's been brought to my attention that we need a little bit of an update on where things are in Peru. Would you kindly tell us a little bit of what's... You sure can. Absolutely. Come interrupt, please. Steve Petit's interrupting, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up. Here we are.
It's trying to buy some more time because we've got to make this. We got to make the salad, and I don't want everybody rushing in right now. Essentially, if you're here, there's a meal for you. Don't worry about signing up or not signing up. If you're here, there's a meal for you. The only thing I ask is you only take one roll. And if you signed up for the chicken, I do have both white breast meat chicken, and I do have thighs. You can't have all thigh. You can have 2 white and 1 breast, and 1 thigh, and that's it. Chase did our wonderful dessert. We're going to have the dessert that he makes along with vanilla ice cream. Thank God for the 3 C's, Cindy, Christina, and Cynthia. that were working in the kitchen, thank you. It made this meal what it's going to be. There's sauce for people to put on their chicken. It's just plain chicken with a little sprinkle of onions on it and a little salt and pepper. That's it, very little salt and pepper. So I think it should suit everybody's diet. That's all.
Thanks, sir. And it smells real good in there if you go in there. Thank you, Steve and Cindy and everybody, Christina, everybody who's been in the kitchen for all that you do. Mark, come tell us a little bit about Peru and where things stand. Tell especially about Christmas.
All right. Hi, I'll try to keep this short. First thing I want to say, even before I tell you about Christmas in Peru, is we have attempted at Masterpiece to try to keep the people who made donations on our mailing list. If we don't have your email and you would like to get a kind of a monthly update, see some of the photographs and the things that are happening there, please see me today or in some way make sure you get that into the office so we can get you that information. This year at Christmas, the building that you all so generously kind of made happen was used, although it's not entirely finished. The building is in place, the roof panels are up, the sunlights that are allowing the light for us to operate in there, some of the windows and glazing all in there. But the important thing about what was in there at Christmas was over a 3-day period, there were 750 kids in that building who were fed, who received a small Christmas present each, and again, who heard the gospel, and their families were welcome to be a part of an ongoing ministry there. The medical side of that is continuing to grow. We have a medical mission trip that we're working on right now with a Canadian group that does international travels as well, so we'll be able to join together with them and have a larger team this year. All of that is because of your generosity and the generosity of St. Stephen's. And so thank you very, very much on behalf of all of those kids in those villages.
One additional thing that I want to say about Mark Milliron is that he is going through a process right now in the diocese, not to be ordained, but to be licensed to preach, and to be able to lead worship, morning prayer, those kinds of services, which what we're finding is that, especially out in this deanery, and I still serve as a dean of an area that extends to Barstow on the north, Needles on the east, goes down to the 15, goes up through Riverside and then up into the high desert, and all inclusive. A lot of these congregations now are no longer able to sustain the services of a full-time, in some cases even a part-time priest. And so we're having to come up with new ways. There were 5 people who participated in the first course that Boy House has. It's Episcopal Identity. It's foundational to a lot of different credentialing. Judith took part in that course as well. A number of people from St. Stephen's were involved in that. The church is changing, and there's a lot of ways that we've got to reach out. And while we're on that subject, is Rodney in the room? Where's Rodney? He's out there. He's out there too. Well, we all know, Rodney, of course, preached a wonderful sermon last Sunday, and then you've met Margaret Stivers. By the way, she's got a senior sermon project that she's going to be working on soon. These are 2 individuals that are going through the process of ordination. You sponsored Rodney. Margaret has kind of come into our orbit. Her fieldwork church is St. Michael's in Riverside, where Canon Mary Christ continues to serve. You, of course, have heard her not only in the Native American service we had, but she came and was the guest, did the message at the interfaith service that we filled this place up as the host of that interfaith service, which was another one of the incredible snapshots for last year. And Rodney, of course, as I said last week, we'll have him as long as we can have him, often as we can have him, for as long as we can keep him. I don't know what the next steps are on that, but very soon he'll be a candidate and then ordained, and that'll be a an exciting time and a wonderful time. There's so much going on right now, and I'm really grateful to all of you. Now, Ms. Atmatic came up with her mask on and gave a great announcement about the Mardi Gras celebration and all the wonderful things that are going on at TEPS. Something we didn't say specifically, although I think I had it in my written report, that after some significant struggle, TEPS as an operating budget last year had a very, very modest surplus, but at least we didn't lose money. The question now for TEPS is going to be whether it truly is viable and able to meet the market needs of preschool children, which has changed significantly, partly because of the pandemic and some lifestyle changes that people have chosen to make, and part of it because of the state of California instituting the transitional kindergarten grade. But vestry, that's going to be a big issue for us in the first half of 2024. So there's a lot going on there. Okay. I don't know how long Mr. Petit wanted us to stall. Oh, yes. But wait, there's more. Okay. Another snapshot that we had at the end of the year was saying goodbye to Cheryl Deloge. And that was something that it was very difficult, because she poured her heart and soul into this congregation for 16 years. You can't replace her. You just can't. Sometimes you have the priests come and go, but every once in a while you get someone that's just on the surface irreplaceable. But we're going to do the best we can. And just this past week, Mary Frances and I did a second interview and decided, and I decided, it was my decision, to extend an invitation to Kathleen Lease, and she is going to join us as parish administrator on 5 February. And I am delighted and excited. I think she's going to do a terrific job, and all of us, right, Cece? We're all going to get, because she's going to have a lot to do in the technology area. And Mary Frances, you can come up too, but one of the things that I can honestly say is that every recommendation that I got about her was 5-star.
So the other afternoon, Steve and I hosted a focus group in our home. It was the last focus group. It was quite a wild bunch. We had a great time. And so I believe it was Mr. Atmatic who asked, have you hired someone yet? And I said, I have. And I gave the name, Kathleen Lease. And I said, and they had the blank look, of course. And I said, but really, you do know this person? And they, no, we don't know this person. Actually, you all know this person by her maiden name, which was Kathleen Hemmers. So Kathleen Hemmers will be joining us. She really is not a worshiping person at this parish. She grew up here. I can see where she used to sit with her mother in the back. But anyway, which was part of our decision. So we're very excited about it. Be patient, because she's got us volunteers helping to teach her, and that's questionable. So anyway, February 5th, she will be here full-time, same hours as Cheryl had. So Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 5, Thursday, 9 to 1. So welcome Kathleen aboard. Is that it?
And speaking of volunteers, would you say a word about the volunteers that have been in the office and recognize them, because they've done a terrific job?
The volunteers have been amazing. Everyone I called, Father Bill says, you've got to get the volunteers. Okay, I call them, they say yes. So we had Nancy Rogers, James Cameron, Nina Rowland, and she's on a trip to Napa, good excuse, and Cynthia Cervantes, then our two, Margaret Selman, Christina Christofferson, they were our subs, Everybody was where they were supposed to be, when they were supposed to be. We learned how to transfer phone calls to different, we were good, we learned, but that's all we could do. We don't know how to do anything else. So anyway, the volunteers, we have 2 more weeks and then we're done. Margaret Selman the other day said, am I done now? I said, no, Margaret, Kathleen's not coming till the 5th, so you have 2 more weeks. So thank you very much, all of you.
Where's Pat? Is Pat in here? Way back in the back. I'm so glad you're here. Pat Meyer. What a terrific job that the Altar Guild did at Christmas. You know, it's never easy, but boy, they just rose to the occasion. And Pat, sometimes it happens because you're here, and sometimes it happens because you've been here. But I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, everything that you do, everything that your Altar Guild does to make this place beautiful. My late mother, one of the biggest regrets that I have is that my mother was never able to come to worship in this beautiful space, because it just sings. And so thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Jeff? You can, absolutely. Thank you, Pat. Mr. Dr. Reverend Pastor Bob Bourne, would you come up just for a moment? I know it's not the meeting is not complete without something about transition. So get in the mic.
I have my computer. A few other people do. If anybody's having trouble with the survey, in the Great Hall during or after the meal, we'll help you out.
Thank you, Bob. Before I call Canon Ricard up, would? Sure, because we're going to sing doxology in just a minute. Which means, surely you... Do we know it? Of course we know it. Yes, Mike. Say that again? Sure, you got something you want to say? Absolutely. I was just getting him on alert. So if you want to say something, please do. Just remember that we are on video, so we do, yeah. Oh, and you got a mic. Actually, he's got a mic. You can use the mic. Good point.
Well, many of you don't know me, but a lot of you do, which is really amazing. I have been a member of this congregation almost 6 months. And one thought that I had was this morning that the folks on video should specifically say there's some mechanism for you to do worship at home, but come to the meeting. And they should be a part of this as well. But at my previous parish, we had, when I got there 20 years ago, there was somebody who had been a founding member, and she was very intense. And this is what would happen. Somebody would go up and make an announcement. And if they began, just like most people here do, with their announcement, she would yell out, "Who are you?" As a matter of respect, because if people have been here forever, it's a familiar face to them. But if you're new, you really feel left out when people traipse up there and say things, and everybody knows them but you. Like, who is that? And why are they up there? And so I think it's a great part of etiquette I found at my old church, that if you ever go to the microphone, say your name and why you're at the microphone. What's your job? What are you speaking for? And those people that speak every time about preschool and every time about transition, that's fine. But somebody, it's their first time in the church. To suggest that as a new way of operating at Trinity Episcopal.
So noted. Is there anything else? Yes.
Just an update. I want to say thank you to the Burgesses for giving. Really?
And you are?
I am Linda Apmatic, the resident nudge. I want to say thank you to Shar and Larry Burgess for giving a donation this morning of $100 for our fundraiser for the Mardi Gras. And then to say thank you to Chase Pendleton's family for filling out their obligation of a table of 8. This table of 8 business really works. And so they showed up and gave me the money for their table of 8. But that aside, only 5 people came and bought tickets. This is how I've been reaching you. I've been texting everybody in the church, and if there's not a response, I will be starting to call. So I'm in the Great Hall now. If you're not going in for lunch, please stop in and buy a ticket. Or if you are at lunch, come and reach me, please. We are at the $1,300 level. I just added everything up. We need $3,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Any other remarks for the good of the order? Then the Very Reverend Canon Bill Dunn, priest in charge of Trinity Episcopal Church in Redlands, California, hereby recognizes Canon Jeffrey Ricard. Or do you want me to just lead it a cappella? No, he doesn't want me to lead it a cappella. He's going to come up. I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn the annual meeting. Sine die. Motion, Bob Bourne moves. I'll give Neil Hartshoe.
Get even with you.
I know you will.
Yes, your next sermon is going to be accompanied.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes,
So Dr. Bourne moves, Bob Bourne moves, Neil Hartshoe seconds the motion to adjourn. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. The time is 11:55. As you are able, please stand. We are adjourned.